going with it. Just so you know, that's who I'm chatting about right now. And so she and I had gone over to the grocery store. It was it was a little bit of rainy out. It's been rainy the last few days here in Halifax. Wasn't really downpouring, but it was sort of not the nicest evening by any stretch of the imagination. So we were coming back from the grocery store, heading back to my apartment, and a couple of women approached us, and they said, "Oh wow, this is absolute downpour." It was lightly sprinkling, but whatever. The other one said, "Yeah, it's pretty hard coming back from California to this kind of weather." Which, you know what, fair enough. That's true, I'm sure. Now, I'm going to be careful here because I don't want to disparage anybody in particular, any particular religion, unfairly. But they both said to us, "Hey, you mind taking this from us?" And it was a pamphlet, and I had in my mind what this was. I had in my mind what particular religious outfit was handing me a pamphlet, and I was a little bit upset because I was like, "Oh God, they know my face now, and they're going to want to talk to me every time that they see me now." And it's just like it's not anything like, I understand that they're trying to save my soul or whatever, and like that's laudable. It's just not a sales pitch that I'm particularly interested in at this point in time in my life. From the particular organization that I'm presently thinking of, I'm tiptoeing around this because they're not the stars today. I'm not going to get into them today. So anyhow, the partner and I are both handed these pretty thick pamphlets, and I look down. She's already laughing as we've left these two people. I look down, and it is not the organization that I think it is. Instead, it is a pamphlet, sort of bluish nighttime blue, with how to tune in big block letters to the Scientology network. So the Church of Scientology's local chapter has previously been in my neighborhood. Anyhow, in fact, if you're the type of person who plays Pokemon Go, the former Church of Scientology, which was then a Asian grocery store, which is now just a place that's for rent. And I keep on meaning to look up what the rent for that place is, because it is it's like a full house. I just wonder what they're expecting to get for it. Anyhow, if you're the type of person who plays Pokemon Go, it is a Pokestop, so you can get your Pokeballs there if you really want to. Anyhow, they have since moved from that particular spot. They have a new spot, which is still in my neighborhood. It's actually quite a bit closer. I looked, and it's just a house, and it's actually kind of like, based on the address, I looked up on Google Maps, and based on the address, I kind of had a sense of where it was. But yeah, it's definitely one of the houses that I was expecting. But in addition to this pamphlet, which is just like information to how to get to their YouTube channels and what's on their YouTube channel on what day and at what time, and Vimeo and the other social media, and you can follow them and get their app and all that nonsense. Inside of this little pamphlet, which is only just like literally a single paper, glossy piece of paper folded, is what gave the pamphlet a little bit of its heft. It's a pink piece of paper. It's sort of a folded legal size. Do you know your strengths and weaknesses? Free personality test included. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Live the life you want. Fill out this free personality test, the Oxford Capacity Test, OCA test. Find out how your personality determines your ability to handle relationships. Discover the factors about yourself that cause you stress. Just fill out this questionnaire and send it in. You will receive an in-person and in-depth, accurate analysis of the results of your test from an expert evaluator, obligation free. Inside the 200 question questionnaire, if under 18, please have your parent or guardian sign parental consent. I hereby consent for my son/daughter to take this personality test and receive an evaluation of the results. I understand that this test is free and places him or her under no obligation. Instructions for the test. Answer every question as to how you feel right now. Do not stay too long with any one question, but answer as soon as you understand, and then go on to the next question. The accuracy depends depends upon the truthfulness of your answers. Each question may be answered one of three ways by marking in the boxes next to each column yes, maybe, or no. This is a free public service, and there's no obligation. This is done with the idea that people can know and improve themselves, and give us a bunch of money. That's maybe a part that I added there myself. Now, if you're not familiar with the Church of Scientology, you may be thinking to yourself, well, John, it's the Oxford Capacity Analysis. Like, that's got to be pretty legit. Well, the Oxford Capacity Analysis, OCA test, is also known as the American Personality Analysis. It's a list of questions, 200 questions, advertised as a free personality test. It's administered for free by the Church of Scientology. Now, the OCA is offered by the Church of Scientology online at its local churches, sometimes at local fairs, and of course, like this little pamphlet here. It has no relation to the University of Oxford, and I'm reading from Wikipedia here, if this sounds a little bit more prepared than I normally am. Has no relation to the University of Oxford, although the name may have been chosen. You think so? It may have been chosen to imply so? So, I'm not going to go through, because it is literally 200 questions long. We're just going to kind of go down some of these questions here, and just, like, take a look into these, like, hilarious questions. Do you make thoughtless remarks or accusations which later you regret? When others are getting rattled, do you remain fairly composed? Do you browse through railway timelines, directories, or dictionaries just for pleasure? Like, it goes, and that's just the first three, folks. The first three questions. Is your voice monotonous rather than varied in pitch? Do you normally let the other people start the conversation? What's great about this is that, like, the way that some of these are worded is also pretty great. Like, you know, like, we've got these ridiculous questions like, do you speak slowly? But then you get a bunch of questions that just make liberal use of perhaps unnecessary quotation marks. Like, is it normally hard for you to, quote, own up and take the blame, end quote? Can you, quote, start the ball rolling at social gatherings? Are you sometimes considered by others a, quote, spoil sport? Do you, quote, circulate around at a social gathering? Are you always, quote, always getting into trouble? Like, so you'll get all these, like, random questions that really mean nothing, you know, one after the other. And then you'll get, like, a bunch of them that are just like, can you easily accept defeat without the necessity of swallowing your disappointment? Do you often feel depressed? Are you ever ill at ease in the company of children? Do you get frustrated at not being able to do something rather than find a substitute activity or system? Like, it takes a turn quickly. Now, of course, I can sit here and have a laugh about this, but I do have to say, like, it is abhorrent that this... The way that this test is used, you don't need to attack Scientology to know that this is that this thing is full of crap. There's, from a psychological standpoint, it's been panned. It's seen as being very dangerous by a lot of psychological societies around the world. The British Psychological Society's Working Party wrote in the 70s, no reputable psychologist would ever accept the procedure of pulling people off the street with a leaflet and giving them a personality test and reporting back in terms that show the person to be inadequate, unacceptable, or in need of urgent attention. In a clinical setting, therapist would only discuss a patient's inadequacies with him with the greatest of circumspection and support, and even then only after sufficient contact for the therapist-patient relationship to have been built up. To report back man's or woman's, I'm just going to throw that in here, inadequacies, to turn him or her to an automatic, impersonal fashion is unthinkable and responsible professional practice. To do so is potentially harmful. is especially likely to be harmful to the nervous and introspective people who would be attracted by the leaflet in the first place. It is preying on people, preying on individuals who probably do need the most help, and I find that abhorrent. I'm sorry, I pitched this as something fun, but you know, I am going to turn it around here into just a bit of fun. Like, I wish that there was a way that I could waste their time. You know, I wish that there was a way that I could waste their time with this little piece of paper that they handed into my hands, because you know, people have been actually like genuinely hurt by this kind of crap. And if there was a way that I could send this in and get my results, which I'm sure would be hilarious in and of itself, without them coming after me in terms of pestering me to join their ranks or whatever, like, I would do it in an instant. Just if it meant nothing else than that they had to focus on my results for a second and not focus on somebody who was potentially going to be harmed by such frivolous nonsense. Jeez, I meant for this part to be a little bit fun. And you know what? Here I am getting all depressing again. I don't know. If you guys can figure out a way that I could fill out this here questionnaire, get it into, you know, my local Church of Scientology, and get the results back, but not be constantly hounded by them, let me know if you can figure out a way that I can do that, because I would be happy to do that. Like I said, if nothing else, gives them having to waste their time on me, and I think that would be just swell. But failing that, that'll be it for my interactions with the Church of Scientology. They're in my neighborhood. I'm not happy about it, but you know what? Honestly, if when it comes to entities like the Church of Scientology that can be that vile and repugnant and dangerous and awful, all you can really do is just keep on pointing out how ridiculous they are. I think it's a little bit early, but I think I'm going to call it an episode right here. And it's a little bit early, but I'll tell you why. I'm going to be planning to be sitting down, doing a little bit of extra bonus content, because it is the 1 year anniversary this past week of the John DuLong Show. As music starts to fade in here, I'll update the feed regardless if I don't end up doing this, but I think I'm going to be dropping a little bit of bonus content a little bit later this week. Anyhow, for now, that's going to be it for this episode of the John DuLong Show. This show is produced by me, with music from Moan Plays Here. You can check them out at loyaltyfreakmusic.com. Also art by Skylar Greencorn, who you can check out at artstation.com/sgreencorn. You can follow me on social media at Jibberdy, JIBERDY. Follow the show, facebook.com/The John DuLong Show. And of course, email into the show, johndulangshow@gmail.com. You can find the show in all the normal podcast places or by going over to johndulong.com. And if you could, rate and reviews, that helps to get more folks listening to the show. If you want to support the show, you can go on over to johndulong.com/Patreon, where you can get a number of great rewards starting at just $1. Another great way that you can help out is tell a friend about the show, get the word out, and make sure that you tune in every single Monday for your weekly dose of the Monday morning nonsense. And like I said, this week, we're expecting a little bit of bonus content on the back half of this week, and it's going to be in addition to the bonus content that you can get over at Patreon. So make sure that you tune in to the John DuLong Show. Make sure that you're subscribed to the John DuLong Show, because that's the only way that you're gonna be sure that you get it every single time, I guess. I don't know, but you know how subscriptions of podcasts work. Anyhow, for John Dulong, I'm